Haven't you let go of that person yet? Months, maybe years have passed, and you still feel that invisible tie squeezing your chest or your throat, and you can't breathe. You keep checking their last online status, stalking their photos, comparing yourself to their new dates or relationships, and maybe even fantasizing that one day you'll get back together. You keep holding on to what's gone. And I understand you, I'm not judging you because I've been there several times. But today, in this episode where you and I are going to share a moment that's going to end. In the next few minutes, we are going to go through a deep transformation in your heart together, and we are going to divide it into 4 parts. Each part is going to be intense, very challenging, but very liberating. So get ready, because I'm going to challenge you with very direct questions, powerful symbolic exercises, and phrases that will shake you to your core when you hear them. But believe me, they're the medicine you need. At the end of this emotional session, not only will you feel the relief of letting go and moving on, but you'll also feel a burning desire to start writing a new story in your life. Block 1 is to analyze the reality of what is already gone. In other words, we're going to face reality and wake up. We'll start strong, but you must stop lying to yourself. That relationship is already over, and maybe it sounds harsh, but listen to me carefully. What you had is over, and it doesn't matter who left whom. It doesn't matter why it ended, and it doesn't matter how it ended. What happened, happened. And if you're holding on to the hope that maybe someday you'll get back together, you're only hurting yourself a lot. A breakup hurts, like someone died, literally. Your brain processes heartbreak as physical pain. Did you know that? Neurological studies have found that the grief and rejection involved in a breakup activate the same brain areas as a stab wound or a blow to the body. That's how real and valid your pain is. I'm telling you this so you know you're not crazy for feeling like this is tearing you apart. In fact, seeing a photo of your ex can make your brain register pain and trigger stress hormones in your body. A broken heart can even make you physically ill in many cases. That's how serious this is. So why do you insist on prolonging that pain? Every time you cling to the fantasy of getting back with your ex, it's like rubbing salt in the wound. Imagine you have a wound on your arm. Would you leave it open and scratch it every day, hoping it will heal? No, right? But that's what you do with your emotional wound. When you reread your ex's messages or look at their photos over and over again, or when you're dwelling on the what ifs, you're getting stuck in a spiral that doesn't let you move forward. I want you to do an exercise. It's very simple, but very powerful right now. Close your eyes and repeat out loud. It's over. They're not with me anymore, and I accept it. Say it again if you need to. It's over. What we had no longer exists. And feel how those words, even though they may cause bitter feelings, start to free you and heal you. This is the first step. Accepting reality as it is, without fighting it, without excuses, and without self-deception. And maybe you think, Johnny Abraham, I can't accept it. I still love my ex too much. But understand something fundamental. Holding on is not love, it's fear. Fear of being alone and fear that no one else will love you like that person, or fear that you've lost the best thing in your life. You tell yourself no one else will love you like that, or that you won't find another connection like it. But you know what? That's an illusion. It's an illusion that comes from your lack of self-love and from idealizing your ex. You put them on a pedestal and you convinced yourself that they were someone unique and perfect for you. But the truth is that your ex is an ordinary human being with flaws, and the relationship ended for real reasons. Don't forget those reasons. You broke up for a reason, even if that's hard to see right now. There were reasons why things weren't working anymore. Be realistic about what you had and accept that this person was neither right nor perfect for you. I'm telling you this in a very direct way, but with a lot of empathy, believe me. Because I know that right now you might only remember the good times. I've been there many times. Your mind plays tricks on you. It shows you a movie of the good moments from the relationship you had, and then it only presents you with scenes of hugs, laughed sex, trips, and even the songs they dedicated to you. But please, don't idealize. Also, remember the reasons why things couldn't work out anymore. I'm talking about the fights, the incompatibilities, the jealousy, the cheating, the unmet needs, and the violence that happened because you couldn't communicate. Don't keep rereading the previous chapter hoping the ending will change. Stop mentally replaying every scene looking for a different ending because the story is already written. And I know that a part of you still fantasizes about a miracle. Maybe you think that tomorrow that person will realize they love you, and then they're going to show up at your door full of regret and you'll get back what you had. But that fantasy is enslaving you. It's like a poisoned candy. It gives you momentary comfort, but it prolongs your agony. And every day you immerse yourself in that fiction, you lose a day of your real life. The uncertainty of a life without that relationship scares you so much that you prefer to stay in an emotional cage trying to rescue something that no longer exists and maybe never was what you thought it was. You cling to what's familiar because you're afraid of the unknown that comes with being without that person. But that price of not being able to move on with your life is too high. Your ex is not in your present and may never be part of your future again. And that's okay. And you have to accept it. It's okay if they don't return because your life doesn't depend on them. It doesn't depend on any other person. And you might feel right now that your happiness left with him or her. But that's the thought pattern we're going to break. Repeat in your mind or out loud. Today I stop living in the past. Today I accept that this person is part of my story and my past, but not part of my future or my new chapter. If you don't let go of that love that's already gone, that memory, that ghost, it will keep enslaving you and will stop you from moving forward. You deserve more than to live as a hostage to a memory. You deserve emotional freedom. Now you've already faced the truth. The relationship is over. You feel the pain very intensely, right? And you feel that lump in your throat and maybe even emptiness in your chest. And it's okay to feel it. That's why we're going to move on to block two, which is severing the emotional bond. For that, allow yourself to feel, because what you don't express doesn't heal. And in this block, we're going to release those emotions and perform some symbolic acts to help you break that emotional bond that still binds you to your ex. Because that tie is like an imaginary cord. The cord is made of memories, promises, and emotional habits. And that tie doesn't just break with time, you have to cut it intentionally. So I invite you to do a brief but very powerful guided visualization with me. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and breathe. Take 3 deep breaths. Inhale and exhale. And as you breathe, imagine, feel, and visualize that your ex is in front of you. Look at that person just as you remember them. And visualize that there is a cord between your heart and that person's heart. It can look like a rope, a thread of light, whatever your mind shows you. The cord represents all the emotional and energetic ties that still connect you. Feel for a moment what flows through that cord. Maybe nostalgia, pain, love, or anger flows through it. Allow yourself to feel whatever is there. Visualize even the memories traveling along that thread between you. And now comes the moment to make the cut. You will choose to free yourself. Imagine that in your hand you have huge scissors or a knife or whatever you want. Whatever you prefer to cut that ribbon, you are going to look your ex in the eyes in this image, the mental image you created, and you are going to say to them firmly, From the bottom of my soul, I let you go. Say it internally and firmly. I let you go. I release you and I release myself. And now cut the cord. Cut it in one swift, decisive motion. And watch how that bond splits in two and how the part of the cord connected to your ex goes toward him or her, and the part connected to you draws back toward your chest. You are no longer connected. So breathe and feel for a second what it's like to be without that cord. You might feel a mix of sadness and relief, but that's normal. Tears might come, so let them flow. You're doing something deeply symbolic because you're letting your subconscious know that it's time to let go, move on, and move forward. When it feels right, open your eyes and come back here with me again. Now, please tell me how you feel. You may feel a little lighter or maybe completely shaken up or emotionally stirred. If you feel an emptiness, that's understandable. That cord was taking up space in you, but the space that's left is for you. So now you can fill it with new things, with yourself, with new experiences, but above all, with peace. Now let's reinforce this release with something more tangible. Let's bring out everything you maybe couldn't say or that you feel is still unresolved. Because many times we hold on because of the words left unsaid, the closure we didn't get, and things that really aren't important. That's why I suggest we do a farewell letter exercise. You can do this exercise tonight before going to bed, or if you want to do it right now, even better. You can grab a pen and paper. Don't use your phone or computer, and if necessary, pause this session as many times as you need, but please finish it. Now you're going to write a letter to your ex. Just to be clear, you're not going to send it. This letter is for you. In that letter, you're going to say everything: the good, the bad, what's left unresolved, what hurt you, what you're grateful for. Everything you feel you didn't say, everything that was left unsaid, you're going to say it in that letter without censoring yourself. If something makes you angry, write it with rage if you need to. If you miss something, express it honestly. If you want to express gratitude for something, do it with complete humility. And if you have to cry while you write, do it. Get everything out of your system. And if it helps as a guide, you can start that letter by writing their name and then writing, "Dear so and so, I'm writing to tell you everything I've been holding inside." And from there, you just let out whatever comes naturally. Let the ink flow. Let the tears flow. And if necessary, scream, cry, kick, whatever you feel. This is your liberation. Every word you write is a weight you lift from your heart and your soul. When you finish that letter, which can be long or short, however you want, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you are sincere. You will do one last symbolic act, which is to destroy it. You can tear it into pieces or burn it, but please do it carefully or bury it underground. Create a ritual with that letter that for you symbolizes letting go. By destroying that paper, you're telling your entire emotional universe, I've let this go because I don't like it anymore. It doesn't belong. And why am I asking you to do this? Because sometimes we need concrete actions to help our mind process a loss. Symbolic rituals serve to give your subconscious a clear message that something has ended. Think, for example, about funeral rites. When someone passes away, they help us accept the reality of that loss and say goodbye. In your case, you are symbolically bringing that relationship to a close. You are burying what is dead so that something new can be born in you. While you do this exercise, it's likely that you'll cry, get angry, laugh nervously, and that 1,000 emotions will come to the surface. Whatever happens, let them out, embrace them, and accept them. This is purification and healing. You are emptying that whole vessel that contains everything old, sour, and painful so that it becomes an empty container ready to be filled with something new. With you, with a new version of yourself, with self-love, and with new experiences. Remember that what leaves makes space for what is coming. If you don't let go of what has already gone, then how are you going to be able to embrace what may come? Letting go is not an act of forgetting, but of liberation. This means that it's not about erasing your ex from your memory or denying that story ever happened. Not at all. That's simply impossible. It's about learning to remember without it hurting you, about freeing yourself from the emotional burden. It's allowing that story to live in your memory, but without pain and without being chained to it. It's about being grateful for what you've been through and integrating what you've learned, but not getting stuck in the memory. Every tear you shed today and every word you write in that letter will be one more step toward your freedom. You will be cutting the ties and chains one by one, and I, right now, applaud you for it. Not everyone has the courage to face themselves or their pain like this, but you today, by being here, are doing it. So now, with that emotional bond symbolically cut, and with that letter that I hope you write, let's move on to the next step. Block 3, which is breaking painful habits and toxic narratives so that we can change the way you think, feel, and act. And with that, the results you create. So far, we have worked internally on your emotions and accepting them. Now it's time to bring that decision to let go into your everyday life. Because there's no point in cutting the tie in your mind if in practice you keep feeding the connection with your daily actions. That's why this section is confrontational, but in a different way. We're going to point out those things you do, sometimes without realizing it, but that keep you chained to your life. And we're going to break them one by one, just like we broke that cord. First, the most obvious, and at the same time, the hardest for many is stalking your ex on social media. Let's be honest. How often do you check their social media each day? How many times do you torture yourself by checking if they have new photos, posted stories, or if they're online, trying to figure out hidden messages? This has to stop today. Right now, I'll tell you straight and without beating around the bush, stop stalking your ex. Doing that is an act of self-torture. Every time you visit their social media from your profile or from fake profiles you've created, it's like stabbing yourself in the wound we're trying to heal. And it's not just me saying this. It's scientifically proven that the more you stalk your ex's social media profile, the worse you feel and the less you progress in your healing and rebuilding process. In fact, a study found that people who frequently checked their ex's profile on social media had more negative emotions and less chance of recovering. And of course, also much less personal growth after the breakup. In short, checking their social media drags you down. It's that simple. So at least for a good while, block or unfollow that person until you're stronger. See it as a detox. And for at least a couple of months, go no contact online. And also, besides social media, think about other triggers that keep reminding you of that person and making you suffer. For example, maybe you still keep old chats or photos on your phone or in your room, or maybe there's a stuffed animal on your bed that smells like their perfume. Whatever it is, it's time to clean. So put everything out of your reach or throw it away or give it away or store it somewhere. You don't have to see it every day. Try to change your routines so you don't go to places that remind you of them or where you might run into them. And even if you work or study in the same place as him or her, it would be good to ask to be moved to a different classroom or work area. Or, if necessary, look for another job. There are thousands of jobs, but you only have one life, and you don't need to spend it suffering. And even if you have children with your ex, I highly recommend that you try not to talk to him or her for a few months. Let him talk to your children or have your mom or sister coordinate with that person for the activities they have with them. But try to distance yourself a little until you feel strong again so that your ex doesn't trigger all the emotional gunpowder you have inside. That being said, now let's also talk about your internal narrative. What story are you telling yourself about that breakup? You tell yourself things like, I lost the love of my life. I'll never be happy. There's no one else like them. It was all my fault. I'm worth nothing without him or her, or everyone abandons me, or I'm just unlucky in love. These stories are pure poison for your self esteem, your self love, your present, and your future. You need to change them. You need to rewrite them. And I'm telling you this with love, but also firmly, because you're not the helpless victim of this story. And your ex isn't an evil villain. They were just two people who didn't work out together. And yes, I know you were hurt and it was painful, and maybe they left you or were unfaithful to you, and that was unfair. All of that is valid. But if you keep living in the victim role, asking yourself, why did they do this to me or why me? Then you're giving all your power to the other person and taking it away from yourself. So today I invite you to take back the leading role in your life. Take responsibility for your emotions from now on. And this means accepting. I mean, what happened, happened. You can't change that it's over, but you can choose what you do with that pain. You can choose what you do from now on because your future happiness no longer depends on your ex. It depends only on you. Stop asking yourself, why did they leave me? Why did they hurt me? Why me? And instead change it to, what is this meant to teach me? What can I learn from this? What lessons can I take from this? And how can I grow from this situation? As cruel as it may seem, breakups sometimes wake us up. They teach us very valuable lessons and help us grow. Maybe you learn that you need to love yourself more, or that you deserve someone who truly chooses you, or someone who truly commits. Or maybe you found parts of yourself you want to heal and improve. Well, take those lessons and take responsibility for your healing. Your ex is not going to come and heal you. They're not going to come give you closure either. And they're not going to come fix what's broken inside you. That job is yours. And this isn't about blaming yourself. On the contrary, it's so you can take back your power. If you take responsibility, then you have the ability to transform your life. This way, you won't rely on the emotional scraps others offer or withhold. Let's shift the narrative. Vamos a cambiar la narrativa de I went from being a victim of heartbreak to being a survivor of this. And I'm growing and rebuilding myself from, instead of saying, I lost someone who was my whole life or my whole world. Say I found myself again after losing that person, and now I'm going to conquer my own world. Or instead of saying my heart was broken, try something like, well, they're teaching me something, so I can become who I'm meant to be. Notice how the energy changes when you use one phrase or the other. One takes your power away, the other gives it back to you. It's also important that you start filling the space your ex left with new and healthy things. Remember that empty box that was left after cutting the cord? What are you going to put there in that empty space? I recommend that you look for new hobbies, new friends, that you take up activities you enjoy, or that you dare to do something you've always wanted to do but never did. This isn't meant to distract you from thinking, though it does help you avoid obsessing. It's to remind you that there's life beyond that relationship and that person. When you do something you're passionate about or something that makes you curious, your body releases endorphins, you feel useful, and you feel motivated or inspired. And little by little, those new memories start to replace the role your ex had in your mind and in your heart. And well, something very important is to work on your self-esteem, because this breakup probably took a toll on it. And then you might be telling yourself things like, I wasn't enough, or if I had done or said something different, or maybe you think there's something wrong with you, and that's why they left you. But that's not true. Those are lies coming from your pain. You are valuable for who you are, not based on who stays or leaves. You'll naturally improve and learn along the way. That's why you have to invest in yourself. And that's why from now on you should grow. But please, don't beat yourself up. Exercise, take a course, watch your diet, dedicate time to yourself, and do everything that helps you feel good. Not to prove something to your ex. Do it for yourself and forget the stories. Do it mindfully and enjoy the moment. Give yourself the love you were willing to give to that person. At first, it might be a little difficult for you, but believe me, day by day, that self-love becomes your new way of life. And also believe me, when you love yourself more, you let go more easily of what hurts you or of those who don't value you because you no longer settle for crumbs. And with that in mind, let's move on to the final section where we're going to look at that next chapter, your new story and how to walk toward it with renewed hope. In section 4, I want us to talk about the future because that's what letting go is about. Being able to look forward without chains holding you back as you walk toward it. I want you to stop thinking about your ex for a moment and put your attention and all your focus only on yourself, on everything you can become and do now that you're free from this burden. Imagine your life in 6 months or a year. Visualize yourself having left this breakup behind. How do you see yourself? How do you feel? Maybe you're already laughing at simple things again. Maybe you're meeting new people. Or maybe you're already opening yourself up to love again without fear. Or who knows? Maybe you're starting that personal or professional project that you put off for so long. You see yourself traveling, studying something new, changing your environment. Visualize a fulfilled version of yourself and feel for a moment that freedom, that hope. It's there within your reach. Your future is calling you and opening up so many possibilities for you, but you have to get there free of chains. So I want you to make a commitment here and now and commit to yourself. Promise yourself that you will keep working on yourself every day to reach that vision of your future. That every time you feel tempted to look back, you will remember that you're not going in that direction. You're moving forward. Stop looking in the rearview mirror because you're going to crash. You have to learn to look ahead and find better paths. And let me tell you something else that's important. Letting go of your ex doesn't mean giving up on love. It means opening yourself to the kind of love that's healthy and right for you. Maybe that right kind of love is self-love for a good while. And actually, I hope that's always in your life, whether you have a partner or not. So that eventually, when you're ready and that someone who truly values you appears, you can recognize them and build something together. Have faith in what I'm telling you. The best is yet to come. And I know it sounds like a cliche or a bit cheesy, but it's absolutely true. And it starts to happen when you decide to make it so. Sometimes life takes something or someone away from us to put something better in our path. And sometimes that something or someone better isn't another person or a lot of money. Often, it's a better version of yourself above all else. This breakup might be exactly what you needed and what pushes you to transform your life, to discover a strength you didn't even know you had, and to truly get to know yourself. You might discover new passions, new friendships, new versions of yourself, and a new love in due time. The possibilities are endless, and the horizon is wide open. I'm telling you this because at one point in my life, I was broken too, dragging around the memory of an ex for a long time, and it was really hard for me to let her go. I sank into a deep depression and thought I would never get out of it, and that I would never love someone the same way again. That I had failed, that this failed relationship defined me. But one day, a mentor told me a phrase that shook me. When you carry the past, you walk with a broken back. And it was true. I was going through life hunched over by the weight of that relationship that no longer existed. And when I decided that I didn't want to live like that, I went through a whole healing process to get through my grief. And now I teach that process through a full course to my students. And in that course, we go over many simple but deep and powerful strategies like the ones I shared with you here today. Did it hurt to go through it? Yes, a lot. But I can assure you that on the other side of pain, there is life, there is joy, and there are things you can't even imagine. In my case, I found meaning, purpose, and a passion for helping others. I rebuilt myself piece by piece, and over time, love came back into my life in much healthier ways. And it all started on the day I saw myself crying on the floor and I said, basta, enough, I'm gonna let this go. Today you did something very brave and began the process of rebuilding yourself. But it doesn't end here. Letting go isn't just about not texting someone anymore or checking someone's social media. It's about healing the wound that made you choose that person and build that relationship. It's about stopping the search for crumbs disguised as love. It's coming back to yourself. It's rebuilding yourself and learning to love yourself in a way that doesn't hurt, so that eventually you can love and be loved in a way that doesn't hurt. Because love doesn't hurt. If it hurts, it's not love. So believe me, it can be done. It's possible. But honestly, we're not going to achieve that whole process in an hour. It's a process where you will identify your wound, you will stop choosing from it, and you will strengthen your self-love so you don't need someone who actually hurts you. You will be able to rewrite your beliefs about love, break attachment patterns, and you will stop repeating the same story with a different face. You will be able to build new emotional skills to love differently. And that path, which is so fruitful for your life and for love, isn't immediate, but it's completely possible. And if today this episode touched you, Yeri, touched you deeply, and you felt like you're opening your eyes but want to go deeper, then please, for your own good, write in the comments, I want more. Because that way I'll know that this topic touches something important in you. And if I see enough people commenting this, I can put together a full workshop or a course where we work on this in depth without empty theories, without generic advice, without just scratching the surface. Not just like on social media, but step by step, with guidance, with a clear method, with truth. Because healing your heart isn't just about stopping thinking about your ex. It's about freeing yourself from your wounds and traumas. It's freeing yourself from the part of you that keeps choosing from a place of trauma and pain. I've helped thousands of people get through their grief and heal so they can move forward toward healthy love. And I truly hope I can help you too. Thank you for opening your heart to me this past hour. If you decide to continue, I'm here to accompany you. See you in the next episode.